Hi everyone, I've got Charles Jeffrey next to me right now. I'm so happy to be able to chat with you, Charles.
Thank you so much.
First of all, I'm so amazed by your outfit, makeup and everything today. I wonder if you can quickly walk me through.
Yeah, for sure. I'm wearing an archive look from Autumn Winter 19 collection. It was called Darling Little Sillies collection. It was inspired by Where the Wild Things Are, Peter Pan, Lost Boys, that kind of sort of feeling. I don't know, I just kind of had my archive there and I just picked out a few things because I wanted to look special for today. Yeah, I've got a embroidered mesh shirt, some nice trousers with a sort of mesh detailing here. It's all inspired by 20s tailoring. Some rings, my claw shoes, which one of the claws keeps falling off because it was a sample, so I need to be careful with this. I love, getting my makeup together for special occasions. So
I love it. Makeup is so important. My mic cover is matching
Yes.
your lip color.
Yeah.
And it's just so perfectly matched. I love it. And somehow your head, the spike also match with your crop.
Yeah, reading today. Yeah, these little accents like jewelry and kind of these little elements. Sometimes I don't really wear jewelry, and then other days I just am really craving it. I think there's something kind of, it makes you have a little bit of armor, or it just kind of gives you that extra point of detail to sort of add a bit of depth to your outfit. So I don't know, I think because we're seeing a lot of creativity today, I just wanted to align with the vibrations of everybody else so that they kind of know that what they're doing and what they're creating can also be things that are worn every day. That's the same thing with me and my brand. I don't design anything without knowing that I want to wear it, so I think that's a really important thing. And when I go back out there, I'm going to be talking to them a lot more about kind of where they sort of see themselves in their relationship with their brand.
I love that. And I know that this year, we're so honored to have you as the judge for YDC. Earlier, I saw you grading different work and stuff for this year's finalists.
Yes.
And I just wonder what would be your one major advice to young fashion designers or just young creatives in general?
Well, I would say it's really important to not be scared of making clothes yourself. I think that there's a real kind of importance in learning how to construct things and going into a craftsmanship, because there you'll find your speciality. Because I think a lot of people think that they have to just design everything. They have to design a full wardrobe, whether it's denim, tailoring, knitwear. And realistically, I think we're in a situation where there are so many brands, and we are kind of curious to sort of see, what's new, because there's just so many people doing very similar things. So I recommend a speciality. The only way that you can learn what you're kind of interested in is through really engaging with it yourself and applying that. Because for me, I think when I started my business, it was much more about kind of denim and knitwear. And as it sort of progressed, tailoring became a big thing. But the thing that really has made me a lot of money is my accessories. And I never thought that would be something that would happen. I didn't think I would be known for hats and stuff. But, these are things that sort of develop. So another piece of advice as well is just to kind of also be very sensitive to what people are responding to, because you shouldn't be afraid of going in that direction, because that's also where you'll be able to develop your business.
And do you feel like having your own community to always support you, back you up, that's way more important than just entertaining the mass public?
Yeah, 100%. I think fashion is also very tribal, and I think people are really interested in tribes, and they're really interested in groups of people. We're all really curious to kind of know what's going on in different areas of the world. Whenever I come to a different city or a new city, I'm always where do cool people go hang out? Where do they go clubbing? Where do they go shopping? I was really people watching a lot when I was walking down the streets of Hong Kong. I was kind of seeing if there was noticing sort of similar looks by people. Obviously, you have those kind of similar looks across all cities, people who are in suits, people who are in sportswear, people who just don't really care so much about fashion. But then there's a real interesting thing where you sort of see some people in youth and they're wearing kind of a certain silhouette, and you're why is that kind of inspiring them? And I think, if you're kind of linked to a community of, say, creative people or people who are interested in technology, there will be a look that will come from that. And I think that's what people want to kind of align themselves with, is something that represents them, what they're interested in, and that can be from a different country or a different culture. You see a lot of people in the West sort of emulating, anime culture, and people who are interested in, that type of dressing, because they're really interested in what the ideals of that community are about, the expression, the safety, the humor, you know. So I think if you can build and foster a creative community around yourself, you might attract some people in a foreign land that you're not thinking of going to. So
that's so nice.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of recommendation for
Yes.
you later
Oh,
if you
please.
need anything
Yeah.
about like around the city and
Yeah.
in Hong Kong. What's the future of fashion in your opinion?
Gosh, that's such an interesting question. I feel, and I don't mean to be negative or pessimistic, but we are going through quite a lot right now on planet Earth. And I do think that we had this kind of huge boom of creativity that had happened in the last sort of like 10 years. And I think that we are now moving towards a space where everybody is being a lot more mindful of everybody else. You know, we're thinking about you know, what do we want to spend our money on? Maybe not lots of things, maybe it's one or two very special things. And how do those things make us feel? And how versatile are those items in order for us to be able to dress them up or dress them down? You know, I do feel like there's not necessarily a conservative look, but I feel like there's an interesting sort of movement towards people kind of guarding themselves a little bit. You know, like everybody is kind of very careful around what's going on in different parts of the world. And when that happens, sometimes people are quite scared to be as experimental. But I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that we kind of, as a human race, kind of oscillate between these kind of moments of being really, really expressive and then moments of being a little bit more kind of together and safe and kind of contemplative, you know? So maybe we might be going through a space where we're a little bit more contemplative and thinking about kind of more binary codes, and then that's maybe we'll find something in the subversions of coming back to it, because I think there's been a lot of subversion recently, lots of creativity, lots of expression, and I think now it might be a moment of conservatism and coming back to it. But you know, for people like me who like to be kind of opulent and to try different things, I think it's quite interesting as a challenge, you know? It's like some people really hate the color purple, but then it's a challenge, you know, to go in and see what you can do to make it work. Like I'm not necessarily into a conservative aesthetic, but maybe there might be an interesting way in which I play with it, you know, and still make people trust this vision, you know?
Yeah. It's so funny that you point out color purple, because
yeah.
Out of all the color in the whole color world, like the purple color is the one that I would least go for it.
Yeah.
Like I'm so into like green, red, blue, black, of course. Like, but then when it comes to purple, I'm like, that's nice, but I don't know if that's my color. It's just funny how you mentioned that. I'm like,
Well, it's interesting. I mean, like purple is such a Marmite color to a lot of people. It also has like a lot of history behind it. Like, you know, it's obviously associated with royals, but then it's also associated with madness. You know, like a lot of kind of interesting emotions and stuff like that. So I don't know, like I think that there's also like this sensibility that I love. You know, like there's designers like Miuccia Prada who famously tackles subjects that she really hates. You know, like that she did a menswear collection based on golf, I remember, and she hated golf. You know, but then it's an approach to make her still attached to something, because you know if you dislike something, you know you are focusing on it because you're disliking it. So I think it's a really interesting way to be creative in something, because if you just do things that we like all of the time, then you're not really evolving. You know, I think you have to expose yourself to new things to understand whether you like something or you don't like something. And for me, you know, like I'm kind of a bit of a creature of habit sometimes, so I really do really listen to my team and like understand what they're interested in as well, because yes, it's my name above the door and I am the kind of owner of my company, but ultimately, you know, we are a team and it's a group effort. So I really appreciate having different people and different perspectives coming in and informing me and showing me new ways to look at how Loverboy can be in as a brand. So
that's why I think like 11 years this year, like Loverboy has been evolving a lot, and like all the design and everything. And coming back to the last question is about Loverboy. So I would like to know, what are the main qualities you think in a Loverboy, other than out and raging and aggressively fabulous? What are the qualities?
Well, I think that Loverboy is just, if I was to say it as a person, you know, I'd say that they definitely have a sense of humor, and I'd say they're very kind and generous. You know, I think that they kind of like the type of person that would walk in a room and try and make somebody laugh. But then at the same time, I also see Loverboy as very intelligent. You know, we really respect kind of culture, and we're really interested in the meaning behind a lot of things. And I think that like Loverboy is a type of person that would be interested in having a really long, deep conversation. I think a lot of people think Loverboy as being like a party animal or somebody who's a bit of a club kid, and that's definitely where we originated from. As I've been doing my brand for this amount of time, you know, I've had so many amazing journeys in like kind of understanding different cultures and researching. I'd like to think that Loverboy is like somebody who you can have a laugh and a dance with, but then also go to the library with or the theatre with. Do you know what I mean? But from a garment perspective, you know, I think that the garments have evolved into being, you know, key pieces that can uplift an item. For example, if you are somebody that likes yoji, it's like much more poetic. You know, if you wear a yoji coat, it makes you feel very kind of like poetic, and it kind of makes things a lot smarter. Whereas with Loverboy, I think it can make things just feel a bit more cheeky and a little bit more like fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We definitely have evolved our personality over time. I think going from something a bit more reckless to something a bit more controlled.
It's like actually like a growth of person, you know, like from like teenager, younger self, and then towards like late 20s. Because this year I'm 30 years old. So I also feel like the difference, like compared to before. Until now, I also love partying. But at the same time, it's more like, okay, how about like wake up earlier? It's like, I would love to be friend with Loverboy. Like, that sounds like a perfect friend that, okay, like you can spend like a early Sunday morning just chilling.
Or you could
also Friday night party.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, I like to see it as well as, you know, you could go out partying with Loverboy sober and have a good time. You know, you could go to the rave, not get drunk and actually go home on time.
It's like all those like daytime rave that are so popular right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm so into them because it's like an opportunity to like align with music. You know, like as I've gotten older, I've not been able to party as hard as I used to. And, you know, I've been able to kind of enjoy those spaces with a different viewpoint. I think when you're younger, you need to drink and do other things to make yourself feel comfortable. But then now when you're a bit older and you have the confidence, you can just walk into a space and you're like, why am I here? I'm here for the music. I'm here for the people watching, or maybe to meet somebody, you know, like it's kind of a little bit more mindful. So when I go out clubbing now or go to see musicians, like I feel a lot more kind of aware of other things, and I get a lot more inspiration because my mind is open, you know.
And just like less peer pressure.
So you kind of just like don't care as much, you know. As you get older, you kind of know what works for you and kind of
to say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, bye.
Yeah, you know, I think that the thing is like everyone's like, oh, do you want to be back into your 20s again? And it's like, yeah, I'd like to have the skin and the elasticity and the collagen, but like ultimately, like, you know, I'm
also the liver and kidney.
The liver, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the hair is thicker, you know, like all these things. But ultimately, I'm so grateful to be in my 30s because I just have a confidence, and life is not as dramatic, you know. It's just pretty, you know, chill.
And just now you talk about music, so I'm just curious, like any music, any artist, or any album that you're currently listening a lot, obsessed right now, like.
Yeah, well, for me, I've got a big love for the artist Oliver Sim from the XX. So, you know, he released a solo album. I think it's nearly 3 years ago, but he's released a new song which is called Obsession. And you know, when I first heard it, I wasn't so sure. But then now I can't stop playing it. It's a big grower, and you know, I love him. I have such a crush on him as well. But his music is really good. It really speaks to me because we're of a similar age, and you know, we're quite different people in terms of like how we put ourselves out there. But I do really see a lot of myself in like his world, and so like his music kind of speaks to me. Yeah, because there's not really many people that I could say that about. You know, like I have loads of bands that I like that are from like the 80s, or you know, like there's techno musicians that I like, and electronic artists, you know, like Peaches and you know, like Goldfrapp and Roisin Murphy and all these kind of people. But you know, like Oliver Sim for me is somebody that I'm like, oh, actually, you know, we're very similar and we have like same interests, and you know, I think it's interesting we've kind of gone off in two different paths, but I love his music. I love his solo album so much as well. It means a lot to me. So
I would definitely check it out.
You should. It's cool. Yeah, it's great.
So nice. Thank you so much for your time, Charles. I really appreciate all the sharing, the very transparent and honest sharing, and I was just so happy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much.
Bye.